Hello, White Sox fans. It's Crystal O'Keefe with episode 9 of Visiting Dugout, brought to you by the Southside Sox. Today on the show, I have Alicia to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Alicia, please feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, I'm Alicia Thompson. I'm a big Rays fan. I'm in Florida, so if you hear in the background this really weird sound, that is a turtle that lives in my backyard. It makes the most bizarre sound. So it really is just like how you might imagine in Florida.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And you're also an author. I've read, and I actually have a copy of one of your books,
Oh, how nice. Yeah.
Hugging Time of Serial Killers. So I also just kind of want to plug that for you. Okay, so let's talk about actual baseball now. At
Yeah.
the time of this recording, the Rays are still first in the American League East. You guys just swept the White Sox over the weekend. Probably will happen again. But how do you feel about the Rays right now? Because they're really something special right now.
They are. It's a really special team. I've been following them for a long time, and they've been special for several years now. Like the last 3, 4 years, they've just been really fun to watch. But you can just tell there's something different this year. Like you can see the energy. And I don't know, I don't want to be disloyal to my Rays, obviously, but I don't know that I am anticipating a sweep of the White Sox. I think, we're going up to you, obviously. So I think, and it's a 4 game series. So a
Mm-hmm.
4 game sweep is always pretty hard. So I'm not betting on that at all, but, yeah, I just think they're a really fun team to watch.
It'll also be a little cooler in Chicago,
Yeah.
so they're really out of their element there.
Yeah, apparently the how cold it was when they were in the Cincinnati game, like, it did seem to affect them, like, you could just tell that some of them were not totally used to that. I think I was watching Paredes, like, blowing his hands, like, every single play.
It's tough. It's really tough, especially when you get out of the stadium with an actual roof over it because it's so cold until like June in Chicago as is. So, yeah, maybe that'll affect them. But
Yeah.
where do you see these Rays kind of towards the mid-season and then again closer to the end of the season?
I mean, obviously, I do think that we have a really good team. I think we have a lot of depth, which helps us. I think even when we lose players to injuries, there's always, another guy on the bench, another guy we pull up. So I think that that really helps us. Already we've had a lot of injuries in our pitching staff, and we've had a lot of pitchers have to step up. I do think that toward the middle of the season, we're gonna have like a bit of a slide or a losing streak, and everybody's gonna freak out, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh no, maybe that means we don't have it. We're not gonna make it this year." I don't think that. I think we're gonna pull it back around. But I'm already like pre-preparing myself for that mid-season where like all of a sudden you just like can't seem to win a game and you start to freak out and feel like it's all over. And I'm already trying to tell myself like that's not true. It's gonna happen.
Well, that's good. So does Wander Franco win MVP this year?
I don't know. I think he could. I mean, this game alone, he's had like 2 doubles, and he made this amazing barehanded catch that you'll probably see on SportsCenter.
Oh, I already
Um,
saw it.
yeah, I was gonna say I was actually watching highlights of your game, and I saw Robert Jr.'s robbed home runs a couple times.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I'm sure that those plays will all be on, the SportsCenter highlights. So I think he has a good chance. He's a good player.
Yeah. And Tyler Glasnow is going to be facing batters. Actually, as this recording is happening, he was supposed to have his first kind of start where he's supposed to pitch 2 innings. So once he's back, and pending obviously staying healthy this season because he is a little bit more injury prone. He also turns 30 this year. Where do you kind of see him fitting back into that rotation?
Yeah, I think yeah, I heard that he did face batters and that they said on the broadcast tonight that he was going to um make a bunch of throws in Tropicana while we were gone, actually while we're in Chicago for that series. So, they're expecting him back pretty soon. Obviously not for your series, but for, a series or two after that. I don't know. I think, right now we have this one kind of open spot that we put Fauché in at one point. We put Beeks as like an opener, and then he goes into, Fleming. We put Fleming at the start one time, which Fleming makes me really nervous. So that always, when I see Fleming as a starter, I'm like, holy shit, okay. Um, Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here,
You can.
but
You're fine.
uh, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a baseball podcast, so hopefully you'd be able to. Yeah, so that's kind of where I think they'd probably, slot him in is kind of filling out there because I think Bradley's doing really well. I'm really excited by Bradley actually, and then Eflin is back, and then obviously we have McClanahan, so that's
He's been great.
hmm
Yeah. I thought this past series there was going to be a pitcher's duel between Dylan Cease and Shane McClanahan, and it was very one-sided. Shane did phenomenal.
that was uncharacteristic for Dylan though, right? I mean,
It was.
from what I've seen of him, and let me just say, his mustache was still just as on point as it ever is. So if nothing else, I know it wasn't his best outing, but it was a solid outing, and he looked fantastic because I
Yeah,
think he has the best mustache in baseball.
he does. I have to agree. No bias there. So we are going to take just a really quick break to pay some bills. We'll be right back. And we are back. I'm Crystal O'Keefe again, and I'm here with Alicia Thompson. We're talking about all things Rays. So you mentioned there might not be a sweep, but how do you feel kind of going into the second series? Again, you're going to be facing Dylan Cease for that first game. And again, home Chicago, Dylan Cease is used to this weather, and plays exceptionally well at home as well.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a really tough game. In general, I mean, with our series at home, twice it was a walk-off, right? So
Mhm.
right there, like that was the home field advantage helping us out. So the fact that we won't have home field advantage in this series is one of the reasons why, I'm not anticipating a sweep. Um, I don't know. I can't really say like which of those games I feel better about than others per se, but I just know that I'm preparing for the fact that if we got out of Chicago with a split series, I'd be satisfied, and if we got out of Chicago with 3 out of 4, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, I know. Then after that, you'll face Lucas Giolito, and he's been struggling, but he's also been able to kind of figure it out and work his way out of jams. So
Mhm.
he's okay. Lance Lynn is really struggling right now, which is not normal at all. He had a great 2022, so bit worried. And then we have redacted. We do not give out his name on this podcast because we don't appreciate him. So again,
Okay.
you might come out with a split. You might come out with 3 to 4, depending on how Lucas is. But ideally, Dylan will at least be kind of back to his normal self.
Yeah, and are you expecting Tim Anderson back for this series?
We still haven't heard anything yet. I'm hopeful that Yohan Moncada will be back. I think Tim might still have another week.
Mhm.
But Yohan Moncada has also been really hot, and Eloy Jimenez is finally kind of heating up,
Yeah,
actually
and
getting home
Moncada's a
runs.
switch hitter too, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a baseball chat with a couple of friends that I'm giving a shout out here, partially because I think they're probably two of the people who will actually listen to this podcast. Like for me, I know you have your own
Okay.
listeners. I'm saying like on my side, there are two people who might actually check it out. And we always say that we're checking the oven timer on injuries. That's how we phrase it. So we're like, oh, check the timer on Glass now. How's he doing? And we're like, oh, it's not coming out clean just yet. Just give him a few more days, few more weeks.
Fork is not cleared. Yes.
No. Hmm.
So what are your keys though for the Rays to take even 3 of 4 of this series?
I think a lot of it is just kind of doing what we've been doing, which a lot of it is keeping our hitting up and, staying active on the base paths, having, a lot of different guys hitting home runs, which is something that we've really been seeing this year. And it's very exciting because, as I'm sure you know, we've always been a team that, we thrive on our pitching and
Mhm.
we win all these games, 3-2, 2-0, that kind of thing. And we never could really count on the offense side of things. So that's one thing that's made this season really exciting is that the offense is actually really hot right now. And so I would say a lot of it's just kind of keep doing what they're doing, where, different guys are stepping up and, everybody's playing their part.
Do you have a player in mind who could be maybe the biggest threat right now for other teams to face?
I think definitely Wander Franco, I think is a very scary hitter at the plate. Rosarena has been getting a lot of even just a lot of like base hits, which,
Mhm.
you think of him as being such a home run guy, but he is, I believe, our team's RBI leader, and he's been, batting in a lot of runs lately. Yandy Diaz has been doing really well. And then
Mhm.
Siri is going to be back for this series. Um, and so, he was hitting really well and he was really hot before he got injured. So I'd be interested to know, how he's going to do coming back.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Um, let's see, what else do we have?
Sorry, you
So
asked like one threat and I named like five people. I just couldn't pick
no,
one.
no, I appreciate all of the intel that you can give us as if I have some sort of connection with the White Sox. Um, sadly, I don't. So, kind of moving on to MLB at large, I think your Rays can personally go pretty far this year. But who do you have kind of as, a hot team that, could make it to the World Series? And who do you have as more of an underdog team or someone that you're kind of favoriting right now?
Well, one thing that I think is really exciting right now is actually all the teams that I feel like historically haven't been doing as well lately, and all of a sudden this year it's like they're just awake. So I think the Pirates are pretty exciting right now. I think that the Diamondbacks are having like a hell of a season so far. Um, the Orioles actually in our division, I find to be one of the teams I'm the most worried about facing is
Mhm.
actually the Orioles. Because they just the past 2 seasons, they've been really waking up. And I remember a few seasons ago, like 2020, I think the stat was we beat them like 19 times or something. So, like, if you look at our record, literally 19 wins were from the Orioles. And then they kept making a big deal about that the last couple of years of like, oh, the Orioles are going to be in town, so these are some wins for us. And that was not the case. Like, they were really tough to play. And this year, they seem like they're doing even better. So I think that they're a team to watch for sure.
Yeah, I just had Michael Waterloo on to talk about the Blue Jays, and he mentioned that the Orioles were kind of they're almost there but not ready yet team last year.
Hmm.
And now they are kind of on that main stage, and he's switched to the Pirates are that team that's starting to really put those pieces back together and make it a little further, but it's not their year just yet, which I definitely agree with because the
Yeah.
Pirates are so much fun to watch right now.
Yeah. Well, and there's a couple I wanna say a couple X-rays on the Pirates. I know G-Man Choi went over to them. So, I mean, I just find them fun to watch for that reason because I like checking in on, my former boys.
Yeah, I am a big Andrew McCutcheon stan. He is just the best, and having him kind of back there in Pittsburgh really just makes my heart happy, and to know that he's having fun and the team is actually winning is great.
Mhm.
But, I love it. So, who do you think makes it to the World Series this year?
Hmm. That's a great question. Well, I wanna say the Rays, both
Mhm.
because I'm biased about the Rays, but also because I think we have it in us. I think we could do it. And then National League wise, your my instinct is always to say the Dodgers because it just feels like they always are there and they're always a threat, but also, I don't know, I don't really want it to be the Dodgers, they've had their chance, they've had their turn. Um, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure who I would face. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it probably would be the Dodgers, that's always my guess.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't feel like the Astros will make a return this year because they are kind of down bad already. They're not off
Mhm.
to a super hot start, and when I talked to someone from the Astros, they were like, "Yeah, losing Verlander was a big hit. We no longer
Mhm.
have this really deep pitching rotation." I was like, "Yeah, that's a really good point." So he was actually a little worried about them. Although he also said the White Sox would potentially win this division, and I said, "Buddy, no, it's gonna be the Twins," but I appreciate your optimism.
Yeah, Twins are off to a great start.
They are. I think the Twins are probably the biggest White Sox opponent, and they just come in and slaughter them every single time, so I feel like they're gonna lead the division, run away
Mhm.
with it, really. It's usually between the Twins, Guardians, and White Sox, kind of
Mhm.
the race to first, and I think we'll just be stuck in third for most of the season, if not all of it.
Mhm.
Well, again, thank you, Alicia, for coming on. Please, this is your time to plug your socials or where to find you, where to get your books.
Oh yeah. So on social media, on Instagram and on Twitter, I'm at Alicia Books, so ALICIA Books. And then I also have a newsletter that's aliciabooks.substack.com where I talk a lot about just music I'm listening to, stuff I'm thinking about. I try not to talk about baseball too much actually, because I worry that I'm like putting people off, but I can't help myself, and so I end up, talking more about baseball than probably most of my readers want. And yeah, my books are available kind of wherever books are sold. I have one out right now that's called Love in the Time of Serial Killers, and then I have one coming out in August called With Love from Cold World, and then I'm currently drafting a baseball romance, which I'm very excited about.
Ooh.
Mhm.
I do love a good baseball romance. I know one I follow somebody who writes and her name is just gone from my brain right now, but she writes a lot of like more LGBTQ friendly baseball stuff,
Mhm. Is
which is
it
really
Katie
fun.
Casey
Love
by any
fast.
chance?
Yes. So she's fun. Anyway, well, again, thank you very much. Best of luck to you in this series. Maybe we'll
Thank
get a
you.
split. That would be really nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, goodbye, White Sox fans, and maybe some Rays fans, Alicia's friends.
Yeah, my two friends from my baseball chat. Bye.